Hi everyone. Okay, dating. I want to answer this question that's been asked to me many times over the years. It's been rather annoying, but also intriguing. What it is, people ask why I don't have a boyfriend during times when I don't have one. People assume I have a boyfriend, or they even assume I'm married. So I started asking people why they think that. They might say something like, well, look at you. And I'm like I have some sort of free license to eternal love or something? I mean, what the fuck? Look, I don't care what a person looks like. You know, they're not going to be everyone's type, for one, and two, no one gets any promises or guarantees in this life, and three, they may not be happy with their suitors, okay? You know, because I got people ask me, like, well, don't you have men asking you out? Yeah, that's been the story of my adult life. I mean, yes, there are interest suitors. I've had people pursue me relentlessly. It even seems some people respond well to rejection and want you all the more. I'm just not interested in the suitors. And I am not one of these people who is afraid to be alone. I'm also fiercely independent, so I don't have to rely on some man taking care of me or stay stuck in an unfulfilling relationship because I can't afford to leave. Okay, and that's the beauty about being, well, what they used to call us, 90s women. Back in the day, I graduated high school in 1988, and they were calling us 90s women back then. We were women who were driven, we were liberated, we had jobs. I had one ever since I was 16, and before I even had business cards and a bank account. That's right, by the time I was 16. I had a full-blown career as a graphic designer, desktop publishing, and print advertising. So I hold my own in the world. I've moved myself across this country alone to places where I had no friends or family and didn't know a soul. Okay? So the thing with dating, I mean, people have asked if I'm interested in dating. Well, yeah, but I want to be into the guy. I'm not just interested in any warm body that comes along. I'm also not flattered easily with compliments, and I think some women and men, I mean, you just pay them a little compliment, and oh, that's all that's necessary, and then you can get in their pants or whatever. I'm not one of those people. Marriage. People have asked if I'm against it. I'm not against it. However, I don't need it, and I haven't bought into the lie that marriage is going to promise you happiness. It won't necessarily prevent infidelity or a divorce, of course. I mean, look, there are no guarantees. One of the foolish things, I think, are these people who, they're really dysfunctional couples, and they believe marriage is going to resolve that. Or even worse is when they think a kid is going to cure their problems. And really, the kid just ends up being the crazy glue that bonds a dysfunctional, stupid-ass couple together. It's a severe disservice to the child. There are women who get pregnant on purpose thinking it's going to keep the guy. That usually doesn't work. And even if it does work, he's going to be counting down the days till that kid turns 18, and he's going to hightail it out of there. And meanwhile, he might have a little something on the side that it's actually into. But yeah, some men will stay out of the obligation to raise the child, but they don't do it without reason, especially when they suspect the woman got knocked up on purpose and it was a dirty trick. These people are fools. Men need to protect themselves from women like that, and the only way you can do that is with condoms. Women will lie. They will tell you they're on the birth control pill, and then they will say, oh, I'm pregnant. The birth control pill failed. It's like, no, bitch, you failed to take it. You failed to take it. More often than not, that's the reality. Okay, so, dating. Yes, there are suitors. My idea of a man problem is one I can't get rid of, okay? I mean, I have had boyfriends who are now exes want to reconcile. There is a very clear pattern here. There's also a clear pattern that I have exited relationships when they're not working out. I don't wait till I get a new boyfriend or a replacement before I get out of a relationship that's unfulfilling. What I do is I get out, I move on, and then start dating, and then, you know, you repeat the process, right? Dating, yes. I would like a companion. I'm not lonely. I have enough interest and quality friends in my life, and this is a quality over quantity thing. But between my interests, my hobbies, my passions, and a close friend or two, I feel fulfilled, you know, in my social network, so to speak. So I'm not this needy person who's desperate, going to be grasping for just any old person or someone that's just going to, you know, like, you know, I'm just not the needy type that needs a lot of attention, you know. In fact, I like to kind of fly under the radar, and there was a time when I was in my early 20s, I'm actually 45 now, where I would wear a wedding band when I went out to ward off unwanted suitors hitting on me. And that just was a man magnet. I couldn't believe it. It became a conversational piece, especially with men already married who are on the take. They want to have an affair, and it's way more convenient for them to do this with someone already married and understands the rules, like he's not going to be able to spend the holidays with her or Valentine's Day or whatever, and he's going to be doing all those things with his wife. So I took the ring off and got rid of that idea. You know, I do think back to the situation when I was a child, and we were on a train in England. I was with my dad and my brother. We're in the train car, and there's some other men, and there's this very beautiful and sophisticated-looking young woman, and she was wearing a wedding band. Now, what I noticed when the train stopped is that she took her wedding band off and put it in her purse. Now, bear in mind, I was like, I don't know, maybe around 9 years old then, and I was able to piece together, like, she didn't want those men hitting on her, right? But now I think it may have been she really was married, and she was getting off the train to see her lover, who either didn't know about her husband or she didn't want to smear the ring in his face because she's really interested in the man. Anyway, yeah. So, I've never been married. I don't have any kids. People ask me why I haven't been married. Why? Where are all of my exes? They're exes. There's a reason they're exes. Had I been married, I'd be divorced. Which seems to be more normal. Like if you're never married, especially at my age or even in your 30s, people act like you're a freak of nature, okay? Whereas I've made responsible choices, and I didn't just grab on to the first thing that came along or whoever paid me attention or wanted to wave money in front of my face. Look, it seems more normal in this society if you've been divorced several times over. You can even have children from different daddies, okay? Perhaps never even having been married and you got children from different daddies, okay? That almost seems to be more normal than the person who's chosen to be responsible, not have children, and didn't marry the wrong fucking person, okay? One thing I never wanted to be was a divorcee. Well, there's only one way you can truly guarantee that, and that's not to marry. Another thing is, it seemed to me one of the worst things, or the most difficult things to happen would be to become a single parent, okay? Because of the strife that can go along with that in raising children without help, and the finances and all of that involved, okay? So, I have chosen not to have children out of responsibility to the unborn. A lot of people think it's because, oh, I'm selfish and this and that. And guess what? Yeah, there's some selfish reasons in there. So fucking what? So fucking what? But the truth is, it was an act of responsibility to both the unborn and myself and society, so I don't have to become a welfare mommy so all of you can pay for my irresponsibility. Okay? And I don't have to get into the statistics about how living in a way like that, struggling, can harm children negatively, both psychologically and physically. There are people out there having kids left and right, and they are the sorriest fucking parents. These people don't even know how to nourish their kids properly. You have children that are obese before they're even in fucking junior high. I mean, look, back in the early 1900s, you would have been a goddamn freak, a circus show side freak people paid to see if you were fat. And now, morbid obesity seems commonplace. Everyone's ballooning up so big that the new average is fat. But in the early 1900s, our average today would have been called fat. I'm not going to nice it up. If you're fat, don't expect euphemisms from me. Oh, you're big boned. You're full-figured. Fat is fat. It's unhealthy. I'm not catering to all this nicey-nice politically correct stuff, which is really a bunch of fucking lies. So, dating. Not interested in fat people. Never have been, never will. Not attracted to it. Fat people seem attracted to me, though. I like skinny. I have a video specifically on my type, but you can watch that if you want to know more details on what I'm really into. But instead of getting into the physical characteristics, let me tell you about just the characteristics of the person that I would be interested in once sexual attraction is in check and it's mutual. I like a responsible man. A man who pulls his own weight in the world. He doesn't necessarily have to pull mine. But if he's generous enough and he can afford it, yeah, that's pretty nice. I'm used to being spoiled. I've had boyfriends spoil me left and right, like where I don't have to work. You know, they give me some plastic cards. I go buy what I need. They took care of the bills. And it can make a woman feel cared for, you know, when the man is that generous with her because he wants to. You know, not because he has to. And with me, he doesn't have to because I'm independent and I have skills. But the thing is, I have found in the past, because a lot of my boyfriends have actually wanted to pamper me like that. And they did like kind of a more of a traditional thing. They knew I was like a modern feminist, you know, like a liberated woman, and they liked that. But we also didn't mind some more traditional gender roles where, you know, the man was the bread earner and all this, but yet I could go out and get a job, and I've out-earned a lot of my boyfriends and actually most of my friends. But I'm retired now from good investments and playing my cards right. But the problem, and this has been a pattern, the problem with men who want to spoil the woman is it does end up controlling things a bit. And well, in the end, when things don't work out, and usually they don't, statistically, let's just face the facts here, most relationships don't last, and those that do aren't necessarily happily ever after. But the problem has been when things wind down, the relationship's ending, they will use it against me how generous they were. And then they might even go as far as saying I used them, even though they proposed the idea, suggested it, or pushed it on me. So yeah, I've seen that a couple of times, but that's just sour grapes, you know. I have not had a boyfriend in a couple of years. Had to fire the last one. He became a problem. Things started out great and all this, but it didn't end well at all. In fact, it was pretty horrific. I have a lifetime restraining order against him. He would not go away. But one thing with him is he fell hard and fast. And there was this point where he promoted a family, and oh, wouldn't it be nice if we had a child? And, you know, we romanticized the idea. But it's absolutely something I wouldn't do because he already had a child and was a deadbeat dad. You know, a good portion of why he had to go was because he was a train wreck with finances, and, you know, it started out looking better, but with time I could see that it was going to be a real problem, and he wasn't going to take me down the shithole with him. There was substance abuse, as well as some domestic violence, and it was just pretty nasty. People have asked, what is the absolute best relationship I've ever had? Ironically, it's also the worst relationship I ever had. You know, it started out like this mutual, beautiful whirlwind thing, and you guys know it's rare when it's really mutual like that, because often one person's more into the other, and that person, well, you know, the person who cares the most actually has the least power. Fact. But what ended up happening is codependencies kicking in and all this stuff, and come to find out he really needed me more than I needed him, so it was easier for me to sever things and move on, because I don't have to be with someone. I'm not afraid to be alone, okay? And like I said, if things aren't working out, I will leave the relationship without apologies, and I won't look back. Let's see. Someone asked if there's a lost love that, oh, I regret it ended, but oh, you know, if we could only rekindle that. No, there isn't that. There's no one from my past I pine for. I can think back to my very first relationship I had as a young teenager, and I will say there was a lot of harmony there. That was a relationship where we started out actually truly friends, and got along, and things grew and evolved from there. But later in life, it seemed to be more like, you know, you meet someone and the attraction's there, and then it's like just that saliva, an instant relationship, like voila, like maybe there wasn't even a courtship, you know. And then actually that's how the last relationship was. It was just instant, it was a whirlwind, but then before you knew it, it was turning into a dust storm, you know, and I had to take cover. So yeah, funny how things work out though. Another interesting thing about affection and this mysterious thing we call love, it's fleeting. It doesn't necessarily last. But if your love doesn't last, that does not mean it was insincere meanwhile, you know. But the thing is, we can feel different, and our feelings can change upon events. Things that have happened, things that were done, things that weren't done, things that should have happened but didn't, things that were said and can't be taken back, maybe things that should have been said but weren't, okay? And feelings can change. They are not static, just remaining like constant. Life is always changing. We can count on that, and your feelings can change as well. I think back to someone I was once head over heels for way back in the day, and that was like a very torrid relationship that was my one off and on relationship that went on. There was something where he had his hooks in me, and I seem to have them in him, but really it was dysfunctional, and you know. And then today, the way I feel, because he came sniffing back around, in fact, that last boyfriend I had was really been out of shape about that, went over and made some threats to the guy, okay? But what ended up happening with this man who I had this off and on toward thing with, he did try to rekindle things in the last couple of years, and I just wasn't feeling it. It was not there for me anymore. It wasn't even worth like casual sex or a booty call. And you know, here is someone that I used to be gaga for, and now I'm not interested in even giving the time of day. And this is what can happen with time and maturity and new insight thanks to new experiences. Also, love is interesting when we're experiencing it with someone at the time and we think that this is the best thing ever, oh my God, and I've never known this love before. And then that doesn't work out and you meet someone else and then, oh, this is your soulmate now, and then everything else before that pales, even though back then at the time you thought it was the greatest thing ever. So our perspective can change, you know. It's very like, you know, up in the air kind of, no guarantees. So that's my video on why I don't have a boyfriend. It's actually by choice. I am currently celibate by choice. I have found that with casual affairs, people cannot always be casual about it like you. They might say that up front, but secretly they're hoping they're going to win you over, you're going to fall head over heels in love, and then when they say it's just not happening, they resent you. They'll even act like maybe you led them on or lied to them, even though you told them up front, okay? So I have found that men can actually be totally psycho jackasses, just like some of the women out there can be, and they're not listening. They're not realistic. And they want what they want, and they're going to hold it against you if you don't return the affection. I'm one of these people, like I said, who does not need marriage. I've had men propose to me. I was actually engaged at one point very early on, but it never felt right. It wasn't okay with it. I didn't want to hurt his feelings. I had to get out of it. I never actually said yes either. He put the ring on, and I just thought, oh no, you know, and I don't want to hurt this guy, but I just can't go down that road. But I am not against marriage. I'm not. But I do look at marriage as something sacred. I see people shitting on their own marriage vows. I don't even know why they bothered to get married. Someone told me it was so he could get laid more often. I said, are you kidding me? And that him and his wife don't even have sex now. And he cheats on her. I'm like, you could have gotten more pussy just staying single. I mean, but that's someone from a hardcore religious background, and I'm thinking, okay, he got married so he could get pussy without being a sinner, but then he's not really getting laid, so now he's resorting to cheating left and right as if that's not sinning, and it is just all so stupid, you fucking religious people. You are some of the most sexually fucked up, repressed people ever. And then, I had this one hateful cunt writing me with all of her slut shaming and you're going to burn in hell and all this, and I'm thinking, look, people who are content with their own sexuality and sex life do not care who anyone else is fucking, how many times, who they're screwing, in what positions. No one cares. When they have a life and they're comfortable with their own sexuality. I avoid religious men like the Black Plague for a number of reasons. Because of the patriarchal programming and these extreme gender roles they want to stuff people into, you know, they expect some sort of virginal thing from the woman, but he's pretty much free to diddle whatever he wants regardless of his past. He's still a saint. And, you know, it's just so fucking obnoxious. I also would not want a religious person because I think you are a gullible person, easy to manipulate, if you are believing in and worshiping an invisible being. I'm atheist for good reason. And people who say atheists don't believe in anything, you're a moron. If you're a believer, you're much more likely to believe in anything. In fact, you'll believe in anything, and you believe in nothing because you're believing in something that doesn't exist. That's closer to believing in nothing than not worshiping an invisible person. Okay? Atheists do believe in something. Reason, logic, evidence. Yeah. So, religious men, they're for the birds. Ironically, my experience with them has been the worst in terms of violence, actually, and being controlling and unreasonably jealous. Now, of course, this could happen with anyone, okay? But just saying, statistically, looking at the pattern, it jives with a world study that was done on societies with heavy-duty religion as their backbone had higher cases of violence, rape, and incest. Go figure. I have some videos on that too, and why I'm atheist. So the man who wants to be with me would have to be a self-assured man, comfortable in his own skin, who isn't this like insecure basket case, suspicious that any man that talks to me might be a secret lover or a potential future boyfriend. You know, that's just insane and will make anyone's life hell if you end up with someone like that. And that is actually what my last relationship was like, and that's another reason he had to go. Because I'm not going to live like that, and I'm a faithful, loyal person. I don't have a history of being a cheater, and I'm not a homewrecker. I'm not interested in men who are married or even have a girlfriend. I'm not interested in getting involved in some sort of triangle or playing second fiddle to a wife or being the second rung to a girlfriend or some shit like that, okay? I'm not going to do that. So I say my standards are high. In fact, that's why I'm single. There are people who get laid way more than me who seem to have a lot less going for them upstairs and maybe on the exterior, but let me tell you, they're not always that picky. And I'm referring to both genders here. And some of these people will fuck anything that pays them attention or anything that comes along or is available. Now, the reason I don't want to get involved with someone casually, even let's say I'm attracted to the person, look, I would like something more serious and profound, dare I say. And if we waste our time with someone there's no real future with, we don't intend to have that with them, it's just standing in the way of you meeting someone that would better suit you. Okay? But if you're stuck with this person and then you're going out with them, what happens if you were to meet someone you're genuinely attracted to or find fascinating? And then you're just going to be creating a love triangle if then you go for that person and now you've got this other thing in tow still, and it gets messy and it's not fair to either party, okay? So I'm not into that. Okay, so there you have it. Let's see. The last relationship. Yeah, he was interested in marriage, all right, but I made it very clear there would be a prenuptial. I have assets, and I am not going to lose them. See, today, women get fucked over in divorces, okay? Because women have shit now. They have careers, they have money, they have property, they have assets, they have stocks, they have bonds, they have 401k plans, all right? And I'm not getting snookered into some relationship, and statistically relationships don't work out, I'm sorry. I know it breaks the romantic idea, but, you know, let's kind of stick with, like, some of the facts, alright? Something's been said that people used to stay together a whole lot longer, and people get divorced too easy today. And relationships used to be stronger. Maybe that's true in some cases, but maybe not. Consider this. A lot of women were dependent. They didn't have careers. They didn't have even a simple little side job. They couldn't leave if they wanted. Okay? And then if there's kids involved and things like that, so sometimes people stay stuck. And that doesn't mean they're fulfilled. Some people stay in unfulfilling relationships because they think no one else will have them. Yeah, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe some people stay stuck because financial security, you know. Sounds like a high cost, though. My dad said if I ever marry for money, I'm going to pay for every bloody red cent. Men have tried to impress me with their cash and their bling-bling. I'm insulted by that. I'm not a gold-digging whore, all right? And I'm interested in who the man is as a person. I'm not going to be impressed with the car. In fact, if I see a lot of bling-bling, I just see someone in debt and someone who badly needs to keep up with the Joneses and impress this person and that person. I'm not impressed, you know. Now, I know a lot of women gravitate toward what they perceive to be powerful because of the money and the bling-bling, the car, the suit, the house. Okay? I'm not one of them. So, that's that. For me, I don't care how much the man makes. I don't even care if he has some job that society might consider menial. Like he's a janitor or a maintenance man or he works at a fast food restaurant. I would just be pleased the man works and he pulls his weight. And don't ask me to do it. I don't support men. Now, even though I'm liberated and I'm a modern woman, I do like being pampered. I admit. Like, if the guy, I'm really into him and he's into me and he wants to take care of things financially, yes, I mean, it does feel nice rather than being with some tight, cheap bastard. Now, I've had boyfriends that didn't earn much, but still yet wanted to be the breadwinner, even though I out-earned him. But there was something in him being the provider that elevated his ego, but he said it just made him feel more of a man and he liked me to feel taken care of. So that was that. People asked about, because they know I don't need marriage, and they ask how I feel about living with someone. I would definitely live with someone first, because it's like, would you buy a car without taking it out for a test spin? No, you wouldn't. And it's in living together where you're going to see more of what's really going on, how the person really is, and if they pick up after themselves or not, you know. I've been fortunate with having men that are very domesticated. They cook, they clean. I don't have to ask them to pick up after themselves. In fact, I've had some that kind of doted on me in the sense that they were like a house boyfriend who worked too, or, so, I can't deny that's pretty nice, ladies. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you can have it too, but you need to raise your standards. And for you ladies out there who you keep complaining your guy, he's either a deadbeat, he's a lazy motherfucker, he doesn't help out, you need to get rid of his ass. Or go on pussy strike or something. Because let me just say this, that people will, you can't control people, okay? But if you have someone who's not willing to help out, that is someone I just would not bother with. Now, I've had boyfriends who didn't really know or do some of these things so much because they really didn't have to before, but they were willing to learn and did do those things without complaining. So sometimes you gotta train them a little bit, I'll just say. Hey, men, don't get pissed, okay? Because ladies need some training in areas too, so this can go both ways, alright? So I'm not playing favorites here. But I'm just talking about this from a heterosexual female from my perspective. So please don't be offended. But some of you need a good swift kick in the ass, and someone needs to tell you to get it in fucking gear, and I ain't your mommy, and I'm not picking up where she left off. So if you're some little momino, that's not going to work out. Speaking of mominos, the last boyfriend I had to get rid of, he's a straight-up momino, even though, you know, he was, like, taking care of things financially there at the front end of the relationship, just up until that last month or so, when the substances were taking front seat. There was this, what I would call unhealthy attachment, where it was still on mommy's cheek. Needs to cut the umbilical cord and the apron string too. You know, it's a little creepy when mom's calling every fucking day and you don't call her back in 5 minutes. She's acting like, oh, something's happened, she's calling. I told him, you gotta set that straight. You're a grown man. And you're not gonna jump through hoops every time the fucking phone rings because we're doing something, we're having sex, we're out seeing a movie. So I gotta talk with her about it, saying, look, I got a life, okay? So he was pretty good with that, and listening to the voice of reason, but things still yet didn't work out, and that's okay, you know. But you gotta know when to cut your loss and stop the bleeding. Okay, so feel free to comment on anything I've talked about, your own experience. I would really like to hear about your own experience. And, you know, what you've been through as an individual regarding your lovers, your mate, your husband, your wife. Has life met your expectations with what you grew up hoping for versus what reality gave you? You know, we all grow up with this, like, kind of fantasy-like idea that, you know, we're going to live happily ever after, Prince Charming will come along, sweep us off our feet, and then that will be that. But in reality, compatibility, it's not always easy to come by, and someone once said, there's 3 kinds of love. There's this intellectual love, a physical, sexual attraction kind of love, and a spiritual, more profound thing we can't quite put our finger on. And he said, if you have one of those, you're fortunate. But it's very hard to have all 3. But if you have 2 of them, then that person may be a keeper. But if all 3 of those are in check, you have truly met your soulmate. And I really wish this for all of you, but it is a rare thing, but it is something that many of us pursue. And I'm holding out for something more deep and profound. I don't want to settle for scraps or, you know, some unfulfilling situation. I think there's a lot of relationships where it's a dead end and the writing's on the wall from the beginning, but people aren't realistic and they just keep forcing their will onto a situation that's really not meant to be. But may you find love, contentment, and happiness, and namaste.